yes, my name is Drew, and you're watching Drew the Theme Park Dude's special HHN at Home edition for your complete HHN29 recap. I hope you guys enjoyed that little intro there. That took me a little bit, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, so we're going to be going in to break down all the mazes, scare zones, entertainment, and more from last year's event, just to give us a complete recap, since, you know, it was the major first year I went, and in my opinion, from looking at videos from all the past years, it is also probably one of the best years HHN had, because I'm a huge fan of retro, huge fan of Ghostbusters, huge fan of Stranger Things, classic monsters, killer clowns, and more. So I'll be talking all about every single maze, every single scare zone, every single entertainment offering, every single food, and more in this one video. This video will be longer than usual because if you guys are watching this as it's premiering, I want you guys to be able to catch the next thing after my slot, which not really designated slots, but I just decided to put it in a little 30-minute gap where there's not really much going on. So if you guys are watching the whole event so far, you just came from SoCal Exploring and the other YouTubers' Hollywood Maze Bracket, then to mine, and then next you're going to go to someone else. I'm sorry, I forgot who that is. But yeah, I just want to make this quick little 20-minute video here just so I can talk all about it. Since I am not on the main list, I am on the additional events list. I just wanted to put a nice little additional video to HHN at Home this year. Real quick, huge thank you to HHN Nightmares on Twitter for allowing me to participate in this event. It means so much to be a part of the community, and this is the first really big time that I've been able to be a part of the theme park community because I am one of the bigger and smaller channels. But you know what? There's nothing more to it than to go right into the first topic, which will be mazes. We're going to be talking about each of the 10 mazes in depth, probably 2 to 3 minutes each. And yeah, at the end, we're going to give a rating. At the very end of the video, I'm going to say my personal favorite maze, Scare Zone show. Even though there was only 2 shows, I'm going to pick my favorite and more. So yeah, if you guys want to enjoy the video and you are brand new, please leave a massive like and subscribe. But yeah, now let's get to the mazes. So yes, this is the maze. I did decide, though, to use HHN Nightmare Speculation Map. As you guys can see in the bottom right there, it says that I had to cut out the bottom, though, because there was other stuff in the image. But yeah, besides that, we have our 10 haunted houses featured in the event. So they were Ghostbusters, Stranger Things, Us, Yeti Terravue, House of a Thousand Corpses, Depths of Fear, Nightingales Blood Pit, Universal Monsters, Graveyard Games, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Those were the 10 big haunted houses this year at the event. There were several scare zone shows and attractions, but we'll be getting to those later in this video. So yes, those were the 10 mazes. This year, we're going to go over the whole summary real quick, then we're going to go to each house individually. So yes, for overall, I think that this year was a pretty solid lineup with 6 IPs if you count Universal Monsters, and then 4 originals, or 5 if you count Universal Monsters and original. I kind of count it as an IP, but it is like a Universal, though, type. For me, that's kind of confusing, but I think it's definitely an IP. Let me know down in the comments or in the premiere if you guys are watching it when it's premiering. But yeah, so we have our 10 haunted houses. They were all located in pretty decent spots. I love the Ghostbusters location because it was front and center. For me, it was easy because the second the gates open, I could just run down in there, get in the QA, and get done with Ghostbusters because that was probably one of the longest waits of the entire event since it is one of the most popular IPs, as well as spots for the entire event, and it's also a very not scary house, but I'll be getting more into that later. Stranger Things, great location, loved how you got to see go back, because since this was my first time really focusing on everything at the event, I got to see a lot of stuff from behind the scenes, so it was really cool to see you could see Hogsmeade and all that from the queue, the train going in, and it was the pathway to get to Islands of Adventure. It was a really cool area, and you could see Rip Ride Rocket going above you. That was really cool. Us, kind of near there, as well as Yeti. House of Thousand Corpses was in the tent house by MIB. Pretty cool location, amazing facade. We'll get into more of that later. Depths of Fear, so-so facade, and it was also in a tent with Nightingales, also near Men in Black, but on the other side. Then we have Universal Monsters, and Graveyard Games, which are both located in the huge sound stages all the way back behind Pizza Fries in the kids area, all the way back to the parade warehouses, which those facades were pretty unique, even though they weren't really considered facades. They were really cool how they did them. I'll get more into that later. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, right up front as well to the right. Nice and easy house. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even realize Killer Clowns was a major house until later. So yeah, and I'll get more into that nice little story later. So yeah, those are our houses. Let's get into each one individually, starting off with Ghostbusters, going all the way to Killer Clowns. So yep, let's go. So yes, Ghostbusters was the first maze I did of the event last year. I did wait probably around 35 minutes, even though it does say 50, because I did take this photo. But I know it does say 50 on the image, but it was a lot less. And I know how it's dark outside, and I did say I got there early. That was because I did a lot of the rides first, because I'm not going to lie, this was like one of my first years I ever went, so that's why I did want to start with Ghostbusters, because I was a little nervous. So yeah, that's why I did have to start it off with Ghostbusters. But yeah, I did go multiple nights though, so that's why you'll see like the times and stuff and the photos be different, and yeah. So yes, Ghostbusters is the first maze I ever did for HHN29. Let's give a full-on review. So firstly, the length of the house, perfect length, told the story of the movie. It was great. Was it scary? Being my first ever HHN house, I would say that queue was, well, like first ever house of the year, I would say it was pretty scary, like like in the queue, because like you're preparing and you're getting a little nervous. Then when you get in the house, I hear that theme song before you get in the house, like outside, you see like the library, and that's when I knew that I would love HHN, because that's probably one of my favorite memories, because I turn that corner, I hear the music, and I just see all of these I see like the one of the like the ladies sitting on like the chairs, and like the who you gonna call, and then they have like the music in the background, and then you turn a corner, Slimer pops out, then you have the librarian. I'm gonna say the librarian probably was the scariest part, because it was the first ever jump scare of the year, and I'm just gonna say it was a pretty unique experience when my family went through it. So yeah, that was a really cool effect that they did there. I loved the Slimer. I got slimed. I only got to see him though once in the beginning, the end slime. For some reason I didn't get. I think the people behind me or in front of me got it, so kind of annoying. But besides that, I think I got pretty much all the scares in this house. I think I missed a couple terror dogs when I watched the YouTube replay video after, because I don't want to spoil it. But I got like a lot of the scares when you went after, like the Sigourney Weaver character, forgot her name, got stuck in the chair, and then like you turn the corner and like you go through like, and like all the ghost gets unleashed, and then there's like this like dark room. I know I got a couple of those. I might have missed one, don't really know. But those are really good effects that they had in there. Love the cool guy on stilts that like came down from like the middle. He was really cool. Overall, this house was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely not that scary, but it was probably is my favorite house of the event. I know I said I was going to save that for last, but I just couldn't get past it. I just am a huge Ghostbusters fan, huge 80s fan, huge thing. And it did have a decent amount of scares, especially for the first house of the year, because you're not really, you don't really know what's a competitive. So when after you get through, you're like, that was pretty creepy. But yeah, great haunted house. 10 out of 10 for Universal Creative. Great job on this house. Let's now get into my second favorite house of the year, Stranger Things. So my second house on this list, as you guys know, is Stranger Things. Great haunted house overall. And I know that they did have a variation of this house last year based off season 1. And this year, or last year, was based off seasons 2 and season 3. And yeah, I was not a huge fan of the show beforehand, but I watched it when I heard it was going to be coming to this year's event, and I fell in love with the show. The characters were very relatable and very unique and very cool. Loved the aspect of the Upside Down. Huge fan. I watched season 1, season 3 probably within like 2 months, so it took a little bit of time, but it wasn't that bad. It was a great show. I just watched a couple episodes in the spare time, but let's actually get into the haunted house. Sorry about Hollywood's house. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Hollywood's house. If you guys know why, comment down below. But Orlando, completely different story. My opinion was my second favorite house besides Ghostbusters. I know, not a huge fan of original houses. I don't know why. I know that they're very original and very creative, and I give props to them because there were some crazy, amazing original houses this year. I don't know why. I just like seeing my characters jump out, like my favorite characters jump out and jump scare me. So, yeah, we have Stranger Things here with the Mind Flare is definitely the highlight of the entire house. Probably my favorite puppet up there with Clownzilla, which I'll talk about that later in the video. Great scares in this house. I love the ones. My favorite scare that I probably will remember for a while is when you're going under the bus in the season 2 part, and there's like this bus, and it's like abandoned. And like, like those emergency heads on top of the bus? There was a demo dog that popped down from up there, and I remember I looked up and I was like, that one really got me. Another one that got me was the Demogorgon at the very end. That one was, I was not expecting that whatsoever. But then I'm like, wait, there's a Demogorgon post-credit scene at the end of season 3. So I was like, okay, it makes sense. But yeah, it was really cool. I loved the house, loved the aspect, loved how they were playing Never Ending Story in the queue and everybody was singing. And like throughout the whole house, everybody was like, it was so cool. And the cast looks like the characters. That's crazy. So yeah, great haunted house. Give it a 9.5 out of 10 since I can't really put it on par with Ghostbusters since that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. Stranger Things though, great TV show, great haunted house. The only one thing I do wish was the flashing effects were died down. My eyes were in pain that after that house, just gonna say that. But besides that, great haunted house. And next up, let's talk about Us. So yeah, we'll see you there. So our next house up on this list is gonna be Jordan Peele's Us. This house was the other IP house at the event. It wasn't even supposed to be at the event. It was like a last minute little change because they were gonna have an original house, but I think Jordan Peele or something offered them to be able to have this property at the event, and they were like, okay, so we'll take it. So yeah, it was supposed to be a, I believe, Tooth Fairy house, which I believe we're getting a variation of this, which we were going to get this year, but I mean next year. We could still get it this year, depending on if HHN announces something special, because there has been a lot of rumors for daytime events, but we're not here for that type of thing. We're here for the recap of HHN29. So yeah, Jordan Peele's Us, overall, pretty decent house. It was very short, so there's really not a lot to talk about in this house. It definitely, I never watched the movie, so that's why I don't think I really understood the house. Because, you know, the funny thing is I'm not really a huge fan of horror movies. More of Halloween Horror Nights is what I like. But, you know, I don't really mind a scare here and there. So, you know, this house was good all in all. It was a decent house. It wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. Just probably towards the bottom of the list because the other houses were just that good this year. You know, the final scene was really cool with, like, all of the people on the sides when I've seen POVs and stuff. So, yeah. That Jordan Peele's Us for you as our third haunted house on this list. We'll be seeing you guys with our next haunted house up next. Next up on here, we have Yeti Terravue, another great haunted house. It was an original, the first one on this recap. You know, it was a great, decent house. I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. When I seen some POVs from it from other angles, it really made me capture the full aspect of the house. Because it is really hard to get all the scares in this house. I did notice that. Because there are so many. And the Yetis are huge. They're like, and it's like cold in there. It's what I've heard. It's a really cool haunted house, what I've heard and seen of. So, yeah, that's really what Yeti Terravue has to offer. It's a pretty decently length haunted house. The story is basically you're traveling through. I noticed that, I think November 1st, since it was the day after Halloween, preparing for Christmas, HHN was still going on. So they had like a Santa walk through this house, since it's like a Yeti. And I remember watching that, and that was pretty funny. So yeah, that was really cool when I seen that. But I also enjoyed like the log cabin that you go to, because there's not really a facade for these big soundstage houses. There's more of like an inner facade once you enter the building. So like Us had the Vision Quest once you entered inside the soundstage. So it's not really an outside facade, but an indoor facade, which I'm okay with. And this had more of like a really cool log cabin like you walked up to, and when you entered, you realized, oh no, there's a guy in there getting eaten by a Yeti. And then there's like this one scene where you go under this big ice cave and they have guys pop out from top. You know what? Comment right down below if you guys enjoyed this house, and if you didn't, tell me why. Or just type in the premiere, because, you know, I'll be hopefully scrolling through right now if you guys are typing in there live. So, yeah. Let's get on to our next haunted house, because there are still a lot of stuff to cover. So, let's try to make this quick, since I do not want to make this video too long. So, yeah. Let's head over to the next haunted house. Next up on this recap, we have our fifth haunted house here, Rob Zombie House of 1000. This house right here, I'm going to tell you right now, I had no idea what I was going through. I had zero idea what everything was. I had no idea who the guy was at front. I guessed he was Rob Zombie, apparently not. I had no idea who these people are right now in this image you guys are seeing. I'm sorry. I had zero background going into Rob Zombie. That was the one house that I really had no idea when I was watching and going through. It was a very interesting haunted house, let's just say. So, Rob Zombie House of 1000. Was it a good house? Was it a bad house? I cannot judge it whatsoever, because I did not see anything. Based on what I saw, I had no idea. So I'm not going to judge if it was good or bad. I'm just going to say what this house was. The facade, though, I can say was pretty well made, because, you know, compared to other HHN facades in the past with the lights and stuff, it looked pretty neat, especially for an Orlando outdoor facade that's pretty good is rare because Hollywood gets a lot of them, but Orlando doesn't always get a few, so yeah. But yeah, Rob Zombie House of 1,000, it was, they had a scare zone, Hellbilly Deluxe, I'll be talking about later in this video. I love that scare zone. That was probably one of my favorites of the year, but we'll talk more about that when I get to there. Hopefully soon, because I don't want to make this video way too long like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, Rob Zombie House of 1,000, basically what I got is you walk through a house and then there's a bunch of people that are getting murdered. I don't know, is that what I was watching? Comment down below if you guys know, because or type in the premiere. I know I've said that like 10 times, but hey, type in the premiere. I have no idea what it means. But yeah, Rob Zombie House of 1,000, can't really say if it was good or was bad. From what my experience without knowing any knowledge, it was a so-so house. I know it was one of the longer waits of the night, so, of like my nights I went, because I went a few times. But yeah, I only did this house once, well, and I also watched a couple times on POVs, so, decent amount of times I actually seen the house. So yeah, decent house, not the best, but from literally zero background. Decent house, not the best. So yeah, let's get on to our 6th haunted house since we're now marking the halfway point for haunted houses. These next 5 we're going to go through super fast since I want to have enough time for you guys to be able to prepare for the next section after my segment video. So I'm just going to try my best to probably do the next 4 haunted houses like back to back to back to back, and then have the scare zones, and then have shows, and then talk about food and entertainment, but because I want to make this one big video. But yeah, enough talking. Let's get to our 6th haunted house. Okay, see ya when we get over to the 6th haunted house. So our 6th haunted house on this recap is Depths of Fear, another original. This original was definitely one of the better originals in my opinion. Even, I do not know why people disliked it. I guess maybe it was because of the dog, because we know how people react when there's a dead dog but not a dead human. There's even a guy missing a finger right now in this picture. Well, I can't really say that because I don't want to get demonetized, but, he got his finger went missing, that's what we're going to say. So this guy in there got his finger missing when a deceased dog is on the floor. People freak out. That's one thing I did not understand about this maze. But besides that, this house was honestly pretty cool. Like, the fish costumes didn't seem that creepy. They kind of seem more like they seem more, I don't know. They were very cool in how they were made, but they didn't really seem scary. I don't know why. Like, up in your face, I don't know. Like, they look kind of creepy, but they aren't, like, scary. So, and that was the only really big thing. It was definitely a tent house, and you could tell back by Fear Factor, it was definitely not a huge elaborate maze. And I can tell that they probably just thought of, hey, what can we do as a nice little original to make this lineup be better? And they thought, hey, we can do underwater sea monsters. So we're like, okay. So, it's basically imagine Alien underwater. That's basically what it is, a infection, and it takes over and turns humans into those monsters, and that's why he's, like, turning green and stuff. So, overall, Depths of Fear, pretty decent house of the event. Middle tier, definitely one of the better originals. Even, I don't know, because the originals are really good this year. I would say definitely, like, middle originals, and probably also middle of all house lineup. So, yeah, great job, Depths of Fear. Great job, Universal Creative. But now we still have 3 more houses to talk about. So let's get over to our 7th haunted. No, we have 4 more houses to talk about. So let's get over to our 7th haunted house. Next haunted house is Nightingales Blood Pit. This is a sequel house, well, more of a kind of variation of the same house, from a house, I believe, like 5 or 6 years ago. And it was just Nightingales based off World War II. So basically they're bringing the same characters, but they're putting them in a Roman Empire setting under the Colosseum. The Nightingales are like these bird-type creatures. I don't know. I couldn't really see them that well. They're not really that, they definitely are very horrifying. And this house did have more of a detailed facade than the other houses, which was pretty cool since, it was a tent house, so they are able to have those really cool facades. The house was good and over and all. There was a really cool lion puppet in there, what I've seen from POVs as well as, myself and other eyes of, points of views. But, overall, seemed like a great house. I heard it wasn't, the best, but it was pretty good. So, that's props to Nightingales Blood Pit. I heard the scare actors in this house were the best out of any house. Don't know. That's, I've heard that from many other different people saying that there was like this certain group in the Nightingales that were very active and like you could get every scare because they would time it so they could get somebody and then they could turn around and get the next person, so like nobody was missing a scare. And I did notice that I got almost every single scare. This house is definitely by far one of the scarier houses as well as gory houses of the event. Well, you kind of see in its name, Blood Pit. More like House of 1,000 over there, which was definitely by far the goriest. But this one is close second. But yeah, all in all, pretty decent house. But we have to get over to our 8th haunted house. The 8th haunted house is Universal Classic Monsters. This house was used at Hollywood the year before, but I heard it was on a much lower scale. Since Orlando used it for a soundstage house, it was by far one of the best haunted houses of the entire event, some say of all time. It featured every single one of your classic monsters except for Invisible Man. Well, he actually could have been there, you just don't see him. But yes, all these other monsters were there. Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, Werewolf, Igor. Why can't I think of any? Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mummy. Those were all featured in there, which are really cool as classic monsters. You started off going through a Frankenstein type of vibe area, which is pretty cool. And at the end, you get jump scared by Bride of Frankenstein, which led a bunch of people to believe, as well as many other rumors, that the brides would have their own house this year, but, now next year. But could still be this year because HHN's looking to do something tricky. Maybe they might have already announced it, but yeah, let's not get into rumors because this is just a recap. But yeah, Bride's house, heavily rumored for this year, but now next year. So yeah. But Dracula, really cool room. I remember he had a really cool room. It wasn't more of a scare room, it was more of like a scene. And he was like doing like his Dracula transportation on somebody, which is pretty cool. I remember the Creature from the Black Lagoon room. That was more of just an underwater type vibe. It was a lot like Depths of Fear. It wasn't, that room wasn't the necessarily scariest room in the house, but it was definitely, in my opinion, the scariest room in the whole house was Wolfman, because he camouflages in with the trees, so even if you expect a scare to your left, and like you can think that you see him, it ends up being a bush, and he comes out from your right. So yeah, that was by far the scariest room in all of Universal Monsters, but yes, this room did have a lot of good scares. Frankenstein was really cool in there. The Igor little mini scare got me. From other videos I've seen, because I like to do, after I do it, to watch a bunch of videos. Like, that's why you probably heard me mention it earlier, so I can see different perspectives of the house, so I can get like a full-on recap of the whole house. And from those videos, I did see a lot of other scares in there, such as one from the Bride of Frankenstein about halfway through the house. There was a lot of good scares in this house, and that's why it is probably top 3 best haunted houses of the event, up there with Stranger Things and Ghostbusters, since I love my IPs. But yeah, great haunted house. While I know this is a lot of people's favorite of all time haunted house, definitely by far one of the best haunted houses at HHN29. But we still have 2 more houses to cover, so let's get over to house number 9. To last and final Universal Creative Original Haunted House on this list is Graveyard Games. Graveyard Games, a great original. People also have this number 1, so I guess really back and forth between the top 2 of the event. I've heard, though, people say Ghostbusters, Classic Monsters, and Graveyard Games as their top house, but, everybody can have their own opinion. Graveyard Games, from the PLVs I've seen, it wasn't like, the story was really good for what it was. It was a great original. I just, it is one of those ghost houses, but, I like how they put a twist on it, and the story was in the Carrie graveyard, I believe it was, because Carrie House, where everything is placed, was these teens, and they were messing around with the graveyard, so they took revenge on them because they're like spray painting, and they were vandalizing and disrespecting the graveyard, so all these ghosts came out, and I guess they're trying to kill him. So yeah, basically you're just walking through a story here. It's very similar to more of a story-based house, such as Ghostbusters and Stranger Things. It's not really like you're part of it, which, unlike Depths of Fear, where you're actually like part of the story, you're like one of the guys trying to escape the sub. This is more of a visual house where you're just walking through and you get to see stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty cool haunted house, though. The facade was more of a house, a lot kind of reminded me of Poltergeist, not gonna lie, but it was an inside house. It was a soundstage house backed by the Parades behind Kid Zone and the Amazing Pizza Fries. Same thing with Universal Monsters that I just mentioned. But yeah, overall pretty cool house. I like the costumes on the scare actors are really unique in this house. The props and physical sets were also really good. But yeah, that's Graveyard Games for you. We have one more house, our final IP house. So yeah, you might not want to disrupt the graveyard. So let's get over to the next haunted house. Next up, we have Killer Clowns. Outer space. Okay, part done with me sing. Great theme song though. Best theme song to any horror movie in my opinion. Even better than Ghostbusters. Don't know why, it's super catchy. I love it. But yeah, besides that, yeah, Killer Clowns. Very not that scary house. I know that this poster here looks very scary and very traumatizing. I believe that HHN did do that to, get people really scared. But the clown to your right there is actually, he's they're not that bad. Like there was a scare zone last year. It's not a scary it was really cool because the movie, this is one of the few haunted houses where I have seen the movie, and the movie was pretty funny, It's not a horror movie whatsoever, in my opinion. It's a comedy movie, but, I've seen parts of it, so, not a bad movie. But, yeah, let's get to the house, actually, instead of just a review of the movie. House. It was in the Shark 4D theater, which, they don't have a lot of room to work with, but for this house, it fit perfectly because they don't really need a lot of room. You basically followed throughout the movie. It was, if you didn't watch the movie or never heard of it, it'd be kind of hard to understand, but also it wouldn't really, because as long as you know that there's these clowns coming from outer space to Earth, then you would understand the concept of the movie. So yeah, and also the house. Jump scares. Most of the jump scares you already see, and they just, like, they're standing there, and then they'll just run up towards you. So they're not really that bad. There is that one room where they have like you're in like the bathroom and they have them like come out of the walls. That one was really cool. I love the interactive, which they definitely couldn't have during now Corona, where you press buttons and it like squirts water and stuff. So that was really cool. Killer Clowns from Outer Space though, great house, but we're racking in at almost 30 minutes, so we're just gonna wrap this up and we're gonna talk about scare zones real quick, and then we're gonna talk about the rest and then end this video. So yeah. See you guys when we talk about scare zones. Here we are back with the list of scare zones, which featured An Arcade, Zombieland Double Tap, Rob Zombie, Hellbilly Deluxe, Vikings Undead, and Vanity Ball. So instead of, going to each one, since I want to try to get this video wrapped up within the next couple minutes, we're just going to talk about each scare zone right now. So yes, An Arcade, located in the front. By far my favorite haunted house. Had a lot of nice 80s vibes, which really fit with the theme. Love how it's like the central house, fit really well since it is an original. And, I really enjoyed it. Next up, Zombieland Double Tap. Located by, I believe, Mummy, up an L up there. So, unique, I'll just say scare zone, because the movie, like, literally came out, like, 2 weeks before HHN started. Never saw the movie, but I do know it's Woody Harrelson, and it's like, no time to die, nut up or shut up. But, besides that, it would look like a carnival. Scares, there was this one clown dude that kept getting me, but besides that, it was more of kind of a cringy scare. It was okay. So, Next up, Rob Zombie Hellbilly Deluxe. This was definitely a good scare. I loved the music, because they did have Rob Zombie House of 1,000, which was actually located on the other side of the lake, but, I really enjoyed this scare zone because we did Fast and Furious and we literally exited not knowing it existed, like literally right in the middle. And as you exit, there's like that robot dude was right there and he jumped out at me. That really chill, like, orange robot. I mean, that silver orange robot. He was nice. But yeah, Rob Zombie Hellbilly Deluxe definitely up there as one of the best haunted scare zones of the year. Next up, Vikings Undead. I'm not going to spend a lot of time during this house because there's really no reason besides going to the parade and to get pizza fries. The rest of the time, I kind of just walked around the other way around the lake. So they're like the one time I went through this scare zone, didn't really get to experience it, didn't really get to judge for what it was for. For what I did see from other YouTubers as well as some from my own eyes, it was definitely really gory and scary. So, fit for HHN, right? Next up, Vanity Ball. This is another one I didn't really spend a bunch of time with because I just kept going down to An Arcade. I never really went down that way, except if you exited Killer Clowns and we're going back over to Pizza Fries. But, besides that, it was a really cool concept with plastic surgery. So, yeah, those are your scare zones. So, next up, we're going to talk about entertainment, merchandise, and food in the everything else section. So, yeah, see you guys there. If you're not a huge fan of haunted houses or scare zones, well, there is a bunch of other stuff to do at HHN. It is really hard, though, to pass it through the park without going through at least one scare zone, so just keep in mind if you're a scaredy cat. But, so yes, there are 6 attractions opened, at least they were last year, during HHN29, including Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, Transformers, Revenge of the Mummy, The Simpsons Ride, Escape from Gringotts, and Men in Black. There were no music alterations for Halloween, which I wish there were, that you could pick. I know that there is a secret passcode, though, on the secret list for Rip Ride Rocket to listen to Killer Clowns, which is pretty cool. But besides besides the attractions, let's say you love entertainment. There are 2 shows at this year's event. One called Marathon of Mayhem, which was the music that you guys heard in the beginning. Phenomenal, incredible show. It's a water show. They take you through Ghostbusters, Stranger Things, classic monsters, and Killer Clowns, as well as like a summary of the whole event. Blasting 80s music, and it was incredible. Next up, Academy of Villains Altered States, a dance crew. You know, it was really cool. I really enjoyed the show. I got really good photos of it that I believe you might be seeing a couple throughout this little portion of the video. Don't know when, though. But, yeah, it was a pretty good show. It was very loud, but besides that, they had like a really cool contortionist that could like bend his arms back and all that. But yeah, next up, food. They did have a mini Scoops Ahoy set up outside Rip Ride Rocket, Ghostbusters Q, which is pretty cool. The Monsters Cafe is where I ate dinner. Really cool restaurant, because I actually don't really normally eat there besides for HHN, which is kind of cool. It's open full year, full round, but you know, besides HHN, I don't really go in there. One thing to keep in mind that's not related is Escape from Gringotts and all of Diagon Alley is not changed one bit for HHN. So if you can get through the scare zones to get there, you can just sit there the whole time and ride Gringotts for like 5-minute waits. So yeah. But yeah, next up is the Tribute Store. Tribute Store, great store. I thought it was a haunted house at first because I didn't really read the sign that said Tribute Store. I just was like, hey, no line, let's go. Because I was not, I was into HHN last year, but not as much as I was after the event, which is kind of sad. Really cool. Really great photo ops in there. I know there were 3 rooms, a Universal Monsters room, Stranger Things, and Ghostbusters. My personal favorite was the Stranger Things room because I loved the show, and I also loved how they had like that demi-dog that you could take photos with up front. I know I've not been to the new Tribute Store yet, even though I do have passes to Universal. Should go, though. Comment down below or type in the promo if you think I should go. So, yes, this video has been now 30 minutes long, so let's get over to our little exit little portion of the video. So, yeah. So, yes, to sum everything up, thank you so much once again to HHN Nightmares for allowing me to participate in this event and to all the fellow creators, for helping host this event. So I know that there's still a bunch more to do if you guys are watching as it's premiering, so make sure you go do them right now and catch the next event. Yeah, this was your complete HHN29 recap guide from last year, so I hope you guys really did enjoy this video. If you are brand new, it would mean so much to leave a like and even hit subscribe, or just comment down below something you enjoyed about the video, or maybe didn't, so I can know how to improve. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It means so much. There's my social links down below where you can join my Discord where I have every update. Instagram where I post daily theme park photos. Twitter, which you guys probably got here from, and as well as my merch store, which, has some Halloween stuff in there, which is pretty cool. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, and have a great day. Once again, I know I've said this like 5 times, but thank you so much, HHN. You do not know how much it means to be a part of this first big community event. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and yeah. So much more stuff to do today, so have fun. See you guys. Bye.